Okay, hello everybody. So this is a webinar to talk about LX Starter. This is not necessarily a training session. This is more of an information session, kind of an informal chat. So I'm going to hopefully show off some features of LX Starter, show you what it looks like, what it can do, talk a little bit about the project and the plan and the rollout and all that. Give you a bit of information, give you a chance to ask some questions, and then we'll have this recording to share with others as well. So yeah, I'll do a quick introduction of what is LX Starter and the project. Then we'll take a little tour through some of the features and the sequences for LX Starter, and then we'll see if there's any questions. And then at the end, I'm going to talk a little bit about a survey that I'm going to send out later today. So LX Starter is an email notification system. So it is going to be replacing the existing email notifications that get sent to your patrons, and that's going to be for things like holds pickup, almost overdue fines, stuff like that. But specifically for emails. So this is not going to be replacing um, text messages or phone calls, telephony, anything like that. This is specifically going to be for emails, and it's going to focus on um, customizable design. So that's what LX Starter is all about. Is kind of a slick, modern look where you can customize the design and add in some of your own information and features and stuff like that. So the customizability is a really big part of it, and we're going to talk about whether or not your library wants to have control over that, and if you want to have a bunch of custom stuff that you maybe change from time to time, or if you are more interested in having a stock setup that YRL sets up for you and doesn't really change very often. But either way, I think both options are going to have a really nice modern look and feel to them compared to the existing email notifications. And I'll show you some examples of what both of those are going to look like today. So let's start by taking a look at this dashboard here. So we're actually in the um, dashboard for Beaumont Libraries LX Starter. They have set it up. They're live. They've got custom notifications. Um, they've had a really great response from their patrons. Staff are really happy with it, and things have gone smoothly with that. So that's great. Shows us that we're ready to roll this out to some libraries. Um, but we'll take a look at their dashboard here. So there are two tabs here. We've got the audience tab and the sequences tab. I'm not going to do any searches in the audience tab today because I don't want to bring up any patron information on this recording. But this shows you the audience here. They've got about 8,000 patrons at Beaumont. And you could search them here. You can see search by name, email address, or barcode. And that is going to bring up their patrons and their notification history. So this is something that you can see in Polaris or Leap now. You can see a notification history, but you get a bit more in-depth information here, and you can see if notifications have bounced, maybe why they've bounced. Sometimes it'll let you know that the email was incorrect, so you could contact the patron to verify their email address. So that's kind of an interesting tool. And we'll see when we look into sequences right away that there's some other ways to look at that data. They've got a good um, reporting dashboard, I guess you would call it, for these notifications. So let's actually take a look at the sequences then. Okay, so I have to drag a screen here. So let's sort these alphabetically. There we go. So these are the notices or sequences, as they're sometimes called in LX Starter, that are available. There are, I believe that there's 12 of them here. So these are the notifications that are available. If there's something that gets sent out that's not here, it's not available as an LX Starter notification. So we can see overdue notifications, almost due, and auto renew. You'll notice there's stuff here. So borrow by mail. This might be something that your library doesn't use. You don't have to create a notification for it and activate it. You can just leave it unpublished. We have canceled requests, final holds pickup, fine, holds pickup alert, and overdue bill. And then they've got these two here, manual bill and missing part, that they haven't published. Um, so when a notification gets published in LX Starter, it's going to override your existing email notification. We call those legacy notifications. You can always unpublish an LX Starter notification and go back to legacy notifications if for some reason you're running into an issue and you just want to make sure your patrons are getting their emails. So we can see Beaumont chose to create notifications and publish almost all the ones that were available to them. We can see here there's a little bit of a informative dashboard on the notification, but let's click into some of these and get a bit more information. So if we click into this, we can get a little bit of performance information here. Again, I'm not going to click into these because I don't want to bring any patron information up on the screen. But we can see that there was a 99% delivery rate for this. We've got one bounce here. So you could look at that and you could see the reason for the bounce. If it was a hard bounce, a soft bounce, if it was related to the patron email. If there's a failure rate, if you can see if it failed to send and why. You can see the opening rate, which is interesting. Just looking at Beaumonts, you can see people are more likely to open emails about holds pickup and less likely to open emails about fines and overdues. Maybe not that surprising. And we can also see the link click rate here. So this will show you how many times patrons have clicked through the links that are going to be in your notification. And then if you look down below, you can actually see which links. So that's kind of interesting as well. So there's a nice little dashboard here for how people are using or interacting with your notifications. Just a quick look at the settings here. You can this is queued. There's settings here for when your notifications get sent out. And then also what the sender email looks like and what if you have a reply email address, you can choose not to. It could be a do not reply email. So there's a bit of information there. And we'll show you just a quick look here. We'll actually go into this notification, but this is kind of a quick view of what it looks like. So you can see this is a nice slick design compared to our plain text email notifications that we're currently sending out. They've got images and text boxes, and Beaumont Libraries having a renovation right away. So they've got some information here for patrons about the renovation and links to go take a look at that, and then social media and things like that. So let's take a look. We'll actually go in to their notification here. For whatever reason, the edit template is in the languages tab, but here it is. So LX Starter is it's a drag and drop design. Or a drag and drop editor, I guess. So there's going to be sort of a dashboard full of tools on one side of the screen, and you can literally just drag them into the notification and edit them. So it's all built in blocks. So we can scroll through here. Also, if this is looking a little bit compressed, I think it's because I'm on a laptop right now, so the resolution might be a little bit compressed, but we can see all of this stuff. If we hover over everything, we can see that each of these elements is something that we can edit. Let's see here. This overdue items section, you can see here we have these little boxes with dotted blue lines around them. And anytime you see that in one of these notifications in LX Starter, that means it's going to be filled by the ILS when it sends this out. So in this example, if the patron has any overdue items, they're going to see the book cover, if there's a book cover on file, and then the title and the author, all of that's going to be filled out for each item in the notification. So that's really nice. Patrons can finally see the book cover of each of the items that they're getting. And then again, we can see this nice little custom design that they've set up here. So quickly, I'll show off a couple of these widgets. I think the social media one is interesting. So you can see if we click on any of these, it's going to give us on the right-hand side here the tools to kind of adjust things. For these social media ones, there's a bunch of different icon types you can drop in there. Down at the bottom here, there's just a list of social media options. You click on one of these, it'll show up as an icon here, and then you just drop in the URL for your social media or whatever it is. So it's nice and user friendly. Let's see. Let's click out of it here. There we go. And show you how we can kind of drag and drop stuff. I'm not going to make any changes to their site, but if I pick up this text box and I drag it over, we've just dropped a text box in here, and now we can edit that. And same with all of these functions here. So if you have a video widget or social media or whatever it is that you want to bring in there, you can do that. I'll talk a little bit more about blocks in just a minute. We're going to look at the Yellowhead HQ notifications to show those off a bit. Body here is going to give you a bit more information or some options on the text and colors and things. Images, there's a photo library that you can pull images from, and you can also upload your own images and files to use here. So that's more or less LX Starter, pretty user-friendly, customizable. And I see I've got some comments here. Can the date format of the due date be changed? I believe so. I think I saw settings for that, but I'll have to double check that for you. And then the video widget is that for an animation or a link to YouTube. Let's drop that in there. So that is going to be a link for YouTube or another video player. It looks like it'll just take a video URL. You can drop that in there, and then it'll be embedded in the notification. Okay, so I'm going to close out of this. I'm not going to make any changes to that Beaumont notification. And then let's take a look at, I'm going to go to the Yellowhead sequences here. And I'm going to show, this is more of an example of a stock notification. So Beaumont was a custom one. They went in there, they did their branding, they put in some notifications specific to their library. Let's take a look at holds pickup for Yellowhead. So this is an example of what one of the stock notifications would look like. We're going to do this. This one shows it has got the Yellowhead logo, but for most stock notifications, we're going to start with a track logo, but the colors and everything else will be the same. And I should note as well that if you choose to get a stock notification set up, you can always change your mind at a later date. We can set you up with accounts, and you can get in here and edit. But it might be an easy way to just get started with LX Starter, get the notifications set up. Okay, so you can see here, it's a little bit simpler. We don't have as many images going on. You can see again these blue dotted boxes. So this would fill in with the patron's first name, this would fill in with the location where the items are ready for pickup. Same thing here with the book cover, and then the library information down at the bottom. So I'm also going to show off the blocks, content blocks here. So let's just go back, or design blocks as they're called here. So we created design blocks for the Yellowhead notifications. Um, Instead of doing all 12 notifications and putting in a header and a footer and a logo for each one, we just created the design blocks. So you can see here, each of those little pieces of content, our social media, links to our website, things like that. And then let's open up another notification here. So each of these design blocks are also drag and drop. So you'll see once we load in that we can just pull them into our content. So it's a nice way to have some interchangeable stuff. Um, um, well, how come I can't see it now? Content. Hmm. I think I might just be clicking on the wrong spot because I know that this works. Um, All right. Well, the content blocks do work. I'll have to figure out why I can't see that right now. So I was just playing with it earlier today. But you can have, each of your custom blocks, and then if you, for example, like Beaumont has renovations going on, you could have a block up for a period of time and then switch it back out for another regular block that you have ready to go. So they are a pretty cool tool there. So that's more or less LX Starter. Um, a bit of showing you what some of these features are. Um, if your library is interested in getting started with this and wants to do some of the customization, um, we are going to send out a survey. I'm actually going to send it out as soon as this webinar is done. I'll include this recording and I'm going to send it out to all the libraries. So we can create accounts for you and we can provide training. Innovative has videos and other training available, and we can do one-on-one training with you too. So that'll be sent out, and then the deadline for that is going to be June 6th. We'd like to hear back from everyone by June 6th if they want to take control of this themselves or if they're okay with using the stock notifications. Are you able to schedule specific designs? I don't think you can schedule designs on a timeline like that. I think you'd have to go in, end of day or something and change over to the next one. Okay. Any other questions about LX Starter? I'll give you all a moment here. I'll also say that LX Starter is not just a Yellowhead thing; it's a track-wide thing. Um, and it's been rolled out across most of the other regions already. So I know Peace has done a bunch of theirs. I think all of Marigold libraries have moved to LX Starter, and Northern Lights is going there as well. So Yellowhead's coming along, and in in June and July we're gonna make a big push, and so all of your patrons should be seeing um, these notifications fairly soon. Yeah, sounds good, Joe. I think that's Um, Probably a lot of libraries are going to set up with the stock notifications, and then when you have time and availability, you can hop on and make those customizations yourself. But there's no big rush to do it, which is kind of nice. Yeah. Okay. Well, unless there are any other questions, I think that's about it for LX Starter. So hopefully that gave you a little bit of information about what LX Starter is. Like I said, I'm going to follow up with an email right away that's going to have a lot of this information. It's going to have this recording, and then there's going to be a link to a survey that we're going to need a response by June 6th. So you'll hear from me between now and then. Um, all right. Well, thank you everyone for coming today, and hope you have an excellent long weekend.